This is All India Radio. In the program Spotlight, now we bring you an exclusive interview with Nidhi Khare, Additional Secretary, Department of Consumer Affairs, on importance and benefits of Hallmark Unique Identification HUID-based hallmarking for gold jewellery. The interviewer is Omvesh Upadhyay, AIR correspondent.
From April 1, the sale of gold jewellery will not be allowed without a Hallmark Unique Identification Number. The Union Ministry of Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution said this. And today to discuss on this in detail, we are joined by Srimati Nidhi Khare, Additional Secretary, Department of Consumer Affairs. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
This is a very consumer interest and public interest discussion that we are doing today. And to begin it, I would like to know from you, what is the HUID number on gold jewellery?
So this is basically a unique hallmarking identification number on the hallmark jewellery. Let me just tell you the background of mandatory hallmarking in our country. The hallmarking scheme for hallmarking gold jewellery was started by Bureau of Indian Standards in the year 2000. The first phase of mandatory hallmarking for gold articles was implemented from 23rd June 2021 in 256 districts which had at least one assaying and hallmarking centre. The second phase of mandatory hallmarking implemented on 1st June 2022. This increased the coverage of the districts to 288. And what essentially hallmarking required was that now we have come out with a 6-digit alphanumeric HUID, which is the hallmarking unique ID. This was introduced from the 1st July 2021. So all articles hallmarked after 1st July 2021 have to be hallmarked with HUID only. This HUID actually contains three things. One is BIS logo, the other is purity of the article. For example, it can be written 22 carat 916, which is the purity. And then there is a 6-digit alphanumeric HUID, which is the unique code for that particular article. So once the gold jewellery is hallmarked with HUID number, it can be traced to which jeweller he had got the registration done, which hallmarking assaying center actually did it, what was the date, what was the type of jewellery, and things like that. This is something which, we all at some stage or the other, we have all been buying gold jewellery. In our country particularly, where it holds a very sacred experience of buying gold jewellery for different occasions. Most people, whether they are rich or poor, whether they are from urban or rural India, they also buy gold jewellery as a way to invest in future. So it is very important for the consumers to be assured of its purity. And that is what hallmark jewellery provides, an assurance to the purity of gold.
And can we say that it is also for gold artifacts as well?
Absolutely. So it is for gold jewellery and also for the artifacts.
Now, I want to understand from you that how to check for hallmark unique identification number on jewellery. Like if some common man want to test it, what is the way forward?
So if you are buying any gold jewellery, you can just look for these three marks. One is the BIS logo, which you will find on the gold jewellery. The second is the purity of gold, wherein what is the purity of gold assigned on the jewellery piece. Now, you must be aware that we are actually carrying out hallmarking for 6 caratage of gold, which is 14, 18, 20, 22, 23 and 24. So, this purity of gold is also written there. And then there is a 6-digit alphanumeric code, which is very unique to that jewellery.
So, in what ways the new rule is in consumer interest? Because ministry stated in the press release as well that is more focused on consumers' interest and to safeguard their rights and buying more. How we can say that?
So as I said, in our country, gold jewellery is bought on several occasions in our lives, and whether people are from any section of society, everyone buys gold jewellery. But consumers had this, sense of aggrievement that probably what they are buying, whether it is pure or not, whether it is a guarantee for the quality of gold that they are buying. Because earlier, when the gold jewellery was not hallmarked, there was no way in which the consumer could actually say that what he has bought is the quality that was promised by the jeweler. So now with this hallmark jewellery, he can be assured for life that this jewelry piece is basically of the same caratage which the jeweler said at the time of buying.
So can we say that it is also an attack on people who are trying to replicate logos and these identification numbers, something like this, to sell jewelries in fraud?
So you are right. Once we have introduced this unique alphanumeric 6-digit code, this is traceable, which means that now it can be traced to the jeweler who got it registered, to the assaying hallmarking center who actually assayed the jewelry, and now this fraud can be completely prevented. So neither those jewelers who honestly want to sell hallmark jewelry, who want to do a good business, they need not fear, and the consumers can also trust what they are buying with the hallmark jewelry piece.
So is there any app also where the consumer can go and check, and if you can share the step by step in detail how one can do that?
So a consumer can check and authenticate hallmark jewelry items with HUID number using Verify HUID in BIS Care app. So this BIS Care app is available on Android as well as iOS phones. Once the consumer has downloaded BIS Care app, he can reach the Verify HUID logo. And once he fills in the alphanumeric code which is on the jewelry, he will get the entire information of the jeweler who got the article hallmarked, their registration number, purity of the article, type of the article, date of hallmarking, as well as details of hallmarking center which tested and hallmarked the article. So once he knows all this information is there, then he can take it as a guarantee of what has been indicated. He will also come to know whatever he is buying, he can trust that article for its purity.
And then the HUID number that you are talking about is only limited to gold jewelries or gold artifacts, or is it also the same for the silver or platinum?
So we have mostly focused on the gold jewelry and artifacts as of now. I can only say that in our country, with so many jewelers, with so many buyers, this is one way in which we can guarantee for purity of gold that consumers are buying. Let us also understand that consumers also sometimes keep gold as an investment prospect for future. So in future also, if they want to, sell this off, they know that, this is the purity of gold that they have, and then they can, get a very decent sum in exchange. Otherwise, if you do not have this backing, then consumers are often cheated on this front also.
You very rightly mentioned that people are also investing in gold, especially in our country, as a more like an emergency fund. So there's a general query on the current news that what will happen with the hallmark jewelry lying with consumers as per old schemes? Will it be valid? Does the ministry address anything about it? And if you can share about this in detail.
So consumers should rest be assured if they have bought 4-digit hallmark jewelry in the past, or if they have inherited, gold jewelry from their older generations, which are not hallmark, they need not worry, because this whole idea is about making sure that the sale of gold jewelry from 1st of April will only be allowed in these mandatory districts with the 6-digit alphanumeric HUID code. So, as I said, earlier there was also 4-digit HUID hallmark jewelry which was prevalent when it was not made mandatory. Now, they also have written the purity. It is possible that that purity, whatever has been written, is correct also. So, consumers should not have any reason to fear. In fact, whatever gold jewelry they are having, they need not fear. It is valid, and they should not fear, any rumor mongering about it.
And with these changes, one thing that is consistently of attention is that the fake news that spreads around these changes is that government is pulling back 4-digit HUID number jewelry. So if you can clarify that on All India Radio.
Not at all. In fact, the old hallmark jewelry with 4 marks without HUID was also permitted to be sold by the jewelers along with the 6-digit HUID mark. But more than 1 year and 9 months were given to the jewelers to clear their stock of their 4-digit hallmark articles. And we think that, already enough extensions have been given to the jewelers. So government is not pulling back, such jewelry. In fact, we are saying if, any future sale of Hallmark jewelry will take place only with 6-digit Hallmark system.
So in this discussion, I also want to understand that till now, how many articles are hallmarked?
So looking at the demand of consumers for Hallmark jewelry, so far 10.30 crore articles have been hallmarked. And we have, say, about 1.53 jewelers across the country who have taken registration under the scheme. And there are 1,395 assaying and hallmarking centers across the country.
So with this statistical data, I also want to understand that if we analyze the impact on consumers, how can you say this and how can you brief on this?
So I can only assure that this step is being taken to safeguard and protect the consumers and enhance their confidence in purchase of hallmarked gold jewelry with traceability and assurance of quality. Hallmark jewelry which has already been sold and is lying with consumers as per old schemes shall remain valid. Consumers having old hallmark jewelry will still have the right to compensation as per Section 49 of BIS Rules 2018 in case it is found to be of lesser purity than the declared value. So the compensation in such case, if consumers get cheated and, for example, on the hallmark jewelry, the prescribed purity is not what is the purity of gold, and if they have been, short shrifted, then the compensation shall be 2 times the amount of difference calculated on the basis of shortage of purity for the weight of such articles sold and the testing charges. So this is basically a great initiative for protection of consumer rights in our country.
I also want to ask from you that what the consumers can do if they have old hallmarked jewelry with them. Is there any clause for that also?
So consumers who are having unhallmarked jewelry, which they have in the family, friends, whatever, if they have unhallmarked jewelry with them, they need not worry. If they have old hallmark jewelry, again they need not worry at all. They can wear it, they can use it. It is not a problem with them. If they want to sell it, then they can either get it tested before selling it, or once they know from the assaying hallmarking center what is the purity, then they can negotiate the price when they are selling it off. If it is lying with a jeweler, then again the jeweler can simply melt the jewelry and make new jewelry and get it hallmarked before reselling it. Although, most of the old stock with the jeweler have already been used because many extensions were given and more than 1 year and 6 months have been given. So by this time, any old hallmark jewelry with the jeweler, the chances are very slim.
So with your insightful input on this topic, thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us today on All India Radio.
Thank you.
You were listening to an exclusive interview with Nidhi Khare, Additional Secretary, Department of Consumer Affairs, on importance and benefits of Hallmark Unique Identification (HUID) based hallmarking for gold jewelry. The interviewer was Omvesh, Upadhyay, AIR correspondent. This program was produced and presented by the News Services Division of All India Radio. You can listen to it on our mobile app, News on AIR. This program is also available on our YouTube channel, News on AIR Official. You may email opinion about this program at airnsdtalks@gmail.com.